time now for Coming In Hot with Brent Wallace and former Ottawa Senator Jason York.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Coming In Hot. Brent Wallace alongside the smartest man in hockey and Jason York. No, I'm just kidding. Graham's off today. Yorkie, nice to see you as always. I'm sure you just got back from the course. I apologize to everybody. This isn't live. Normally it usually is, but the Google machine is down somewhere. So they've taken us off being live today.
Yeah, it's off. Our StreamYard's off right across the nation, right?
Well, there's lots of stuff down. It's got to do with Google somehow. Anyway.
Gotcha.
I don't want to waste your time because we've got Nate Thompson standing by, who is, by the way, I talked to someone today. They called him one of the next big stars in broadcasting.
Yeah.
I'm not joking either. So we'll get him on so we don't have to talk to you and I for long. Right? You're a former teammate, by the way.
4 games. Yeah, 4 games. Nate, I remember Nate too, because when I was in Boston, it was my last year. Nate came in, played 4 games, was around more than the 4 games. But no, I knew he was going to have a long career. And, you know, guys like that, good room guy, great depth guy, smart guy. Hey, good guys play a long time. You probably sneak out 3 or 4 more years just because you're a good room guy, right?
Over 800 games.
Yep.
So I'm going to talk to him because I'm curious about playing on 9 different teams and what that's like, especially playing on 3 Canadian teams. And he can answer the tax dollar issue, right? Played in LA, played in Florida, played in Canada. We'll see if it makes a difference. All right, let's get to it. So without further ado, I'll take care of some business and we're going to get to Nate. All right. This show brought to you by Charm Diamond Centers. More than 85 locations across the country through Charm and their sister brands. Get custom ring building delivered in less than 4 weeks with the Charm Masterpiece Program and unbeatable pricing policy. Apply for a Charm Diamond Flexity card today. For more information, go to charmdiamondcenters.com. Chosen forever, Charm Diamond Centers. And by Gabriel Pizza. Someone, by the way, commented, I sing better than Graham. This episode fueled by Gabriel Pizza, the official pizza of the Ottawa Senators and Coming In Hot. Download the Gabriel Pizza app today. Earn points with every order and unlock exclusive deals through Gabriel Pizza Perks. Go to GabrielPizza.com and check out the app for daily specials. And, of course, their playoff specials as well. And by Merkley Supply, your favorite. Yorkie has over a century of passion, expertise, and the highest quality masonry supply. They're home to Canada's largest masonry boutique in Eastern Ontario. From Canada's Supreme Court to your home front steps, no matter your project, Ottawa Merkley is proud to set it in stone. If you're looking for stone, brick, landscaping products, or especially building supplies, count on Merkley Supply. Go to merkleysupply.com or visit their showroom in Hindenburg. Merkley, mark every milestone. And, of course, by Shoeless Joe's. They have daily deals from Sunday to Thursday. Burgers, wings, cold beer, solid prices, no fluff, just the good stuff. 5 nights a week. Tonight, which is Thursday, they have got wine and flatbread Thursdays, perfect for catching up and kicking back. Don't forget it's the game tonight, and they have game day bud specials. So Shoeless Joe's, daily deals, big flavor, good times on repeat. Welcome to the show. 43 games of it, 44 games of it as an Ottawa Senator. Nate Thompson.
The Sens Summer Series.
Now, part of the podcast world in the energy line with Julie Stewart-Binks. Nate, nice to see you.
Good to see you too, Brent. Good to see you too, Yorkie. I'm glad to be here today.
I never asked you this, but how did you end up, how did it come to be that you became an Ottawa Senator? How did that chain of events happen?
Well, my last year in Anaheim, as you know, the previous 3 years in Anaheim, we had really good teams. They didn't want to sign me to a 2-year deal. Bob Murray was the general manager at the time, and only offered me a 1-year deal. Ottawa was one of the teams as free agency that offered the 2nd year, and obviously I was familiar with Guy Boucher. They went to the conference finals the year before, so I figured we're going to be a cup contending team the next year. So that's how it happened. That's how it unfolded.
Yeah.
Apparently, we're getting right into it because that year starts off great, as you know, Nate, and then quickly plummets. So take me through I think you were on the roster for 255 days.
Yeah, it was short. It was, we got off to a good start. We traded for Matt Duchene that year. I remember that. It was a great addition. Yeah, and then we, it's funny. We talked about this before the show, Brent. We go over to Sweden and we play in that global series and have a good start. We win both games over there, and we come back and the wheels fell off. And there were some things. How do I politely put this? There were some things off the ice within the team that were going on that was started to transpire throughout the next couple months. And I'll be honest, I asked for a trade in February, where the team was headed, where it was going. Things were guys were already starting to get moved at that point because of you know how it goes. It doesn't work out, and the team turns into a seller, and that's kind of what happened. And I had a 2-year deal, obviously, so I was knowing at the time, my age, everything that. I mean, Yorkie, when you see something about to go off the cliff,
you get out.
You get out.
Especially when you're old. When you're an old guy, if you're an old guy on a sinking ship, you don't want to go down with that
you don't want to be a part, because your career will be over in a year. And that's how fast it happens. So I could see it happening. And so I was proactive. And Pierre Dorion and Guy were great about it. I went up to Guy before I asked for the trade and told him. I was completely honest with him and said, listen, I'm coming to you first, letting you know I'm going to ask for a trade. Yeah. I mean, he wasn't pleased with it, but I was honest with him. And then he talked to Pierre, and I talked to Pierre, my agent did, and they made it happen. There was no hard feelings. There was nothing bad about it or bitter. Anybody was bitter about it. It was just it was the nature of the beast, and sometimes you got to do that in your career.
Well, to your point, like, and you're an older guy, and I went through it the year you were with me in Boston for a short time. Like, that team we had in Boston, like, it was a gong show. We had an assistant coach trying to take the coach's job. We had, like, it was Chera's first year as captain. We had guys that were out of shape. And then I'm 37, and all of a sudden you miss the playoffs. Everything goes wrong. You're out of the NHL. So I don't blame you, Nate. That's a good call. Hey, was that Ubergate year where the guys got caught in the Uber and all that, Wally? Was that the same year?
No.
Maybe the year after that.
That was the year after, right?
Yeah. No, there was, although Nate, how much of a distraction was the off-ice stuff going on to how you guys were playing on the ice?
Yeah, I think it was a little bit. I think the part of the reason it became a distraction is because it started to become public. When it starts to become public and the media starts knowing about it and people start asking questions. And I think when it was just starting to, I was pretty close to traded, or around that time I was traded. I think it really started to become more public after I got traded. But yeah, I mean, whenever that kind of stuff, creeps into a locker room, or, that kind of stuff has any sway on what's going on day to day with your team, it's a recipe for disaster.
Refresh my memory, Wally. Was that with the wives squabble? Is that the wife? Is that wife gate?
There may have been some spouse issues.
Yeah. That's the year all that stuff went down. Oh my God.
Yes. Someone on the team told me they spent more time dealing with spouses than the players. So yeah, Jesus.
Imagine the wives' room. Imagine how everyone must have been on edge in there, like after games. These kids not allowed to play with these kids, and like.
Yeah, I try to stay out of that for sure, and I did. I got out of there quickly, and I have to preface this with, like, I'm not saying bad anything about anybody. I loved my time in Ottawa. I loved, I signed there for 2 years expecting us to be there. It didn't work out that way, but it was a tough situation, and something I was never a part of ever.
Because you got traded with Dion Phaneuf. You guys high five as you met at the airport on the plane to LA?
I will say, it's funny you say that. It was, and Ottawa Senators fans, please be easy on me after this, but it was a while ago. I remember during that time, because it was probably like 2 weeks before the deadline, I think, and I was hurt. I had a growing injury. I was at home. I was watching the game. Ottawa was playing Carolina in Carolina, and I remember Dion got pulled off the ice. He got pulled off the ice, and they were talking about it. And Pierre Dorion told me like 2 or 3 days before that, at a team event, I can't remember what event it was, and he pulled me in the back kitchen, and it was like, hey, there's a team on the 405 or close to your old team that is asking about you. Would you be okay going there? And I'm like, yeah. Yeah, I would. So you fast forward a couple of days back to where I'm watching that game, and Dion gets pulled off the ice. And then within like 2 minutes after he gets pulled off the ice, I get a call. And got a call. I got traded to LA. Next thing you know, I'm on the phone with Luc Robitaille. I'm not gonna lie, I was bouncing up and down the house. I was pretty pumped. I mean, that's where I lived in the off season too, so it worked out pretty well. And yeah, Dion and I were definitely calling. He was calling me right after because I had to get some stuff for him because we were meeting the Kings in Pittsburgh. So and Dion and I got a lot closer after that. That's for sure. Being traded together, which was fun. I still talk to Dion.
Oh yeah. He's now in a new commercial. Him and Alicia Cuthbert, his wife, for Booster Juice.
I haven't even seen it.
I always thought he would get into some kind of role with a team or something. I remember I came on that Stockholm trip. I was doing television. And man, could Dion ever work a room? Like he was working that plane, chatting this guy up, chatting that guy up. I'm like, geez, this guy's like the mayor of the air right now. He's like, guys like that always end up in management or something, right? Because
it's funny you say that. So Dion works on the business side for the Kings.
There he
does,
is.
like sponsorships, all that stuff. So
Perfect.
everything you're just saying, that's what Dion.
That's what he's great. And I don't know Dion.
Yeah,
I don't. Yeah. I get a pretty good read on people when I watch them operate. Yeah. And I was watching. I'm like, all right, he's pretty smooth.
No, he is.
He got the nice talk. Suits on.
Oh yeah,
right?
He can talk. He can make you laugh. He's kind of he holds a room when he talks. So
exactly.
Yeah, he really does. Yeah, he's great. I still talk to Dion. Saw him during the playoffs at a Kings game. So he's one of a kind. That's for sure.
I always thought you'd be a guy that get into coaching though, because guys like you know the game. You got, because you play this game a certain way. You got to be a details guy. You're a defensive guy. Like guys like you usually end up coaching, not doing media. Like how did you not get into coaching?
Well, after I played in Philly, I had shoulder surgery my last year in the NHL. As you know, it's tough to get a job after that. Go to PTO with the Kings. Ended up playing with Ontario in the American League my last year, really, and played half the game. I had some injuries, but played some games. Played the playoffs with them, and then decided to call it after that. And the next year, I actually was a skills coach for Ontario. My first year after retiring. Marco Stern was the head coach actually in Ontario down there. So coached with him, and I enjoyed it, Yorkie. It was just, I think the timing of it, and like after retiring sometimes, like, I went right from playing to right into it.
Yeah.
And
you
need a break. And the coaching side of things, as you know, it is nonstop. It doesn't, you're in the office all day.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed parts of it, but it was just the timing of it was tough, and I wasn't ready for it. I don't think.
You gotta. It's unfortunate if you look at the stats of coaches in the NHL and divorce rates. It's about 80%.
Yeah,
because you're at the rink all the time. Your wife's angry. She's pissed off. You come home. You bring the game home with you, and you're all riled up. You can't let it go. And it's great when you're at the rink and you're winning, but when you're losing, man, I don't know. I'd love to coach, Nate, but I don't know if mentally it's a grind, man.
I have a whole new respect for all those coaches, especially in the NHL. I mean, how much time they have to, put in every day. And it's not just like, it's after games too. Like after the game, it doesn't stop. It keeps going. You're preparing for the next day. You're on to the next one. So I will say I learned a ton. I learned a lot from getting that perspective and seeing that side of things. And then it helped me for the media side now, like having that coach's perspective and seeing things differently. I mean, as a player, you see the ice, you see the game through a certain lens when you're playing. And then when you put the coach's hat on, you're like, oh, so this is why. Oh, this is why he did this and said this to me. And being in those meetings, I'm like, fuck, these guys. these guys said all this shit about me.
The shit talk, the shit talking. It's like
God.
if players only knew. Like I coached junior
Oh.
for 5 years, and after a period, you go to the coach's office, and you're just, what the hell is this guy thinking? That guy's so stupid, and this guy, and then you go back in the dressing room, and you got to like zip it up and talk to the guys. Yeah, it's.
But York,
yes.
you know what I learned too, though? The biggest thing I learned, and maybe it's the era and the kids and how young they were, coaching guys that were anywhere from 19 to 30, but most of the guys are 19 to 24 in the American League. And, I turned into a psychologist. You turn into a psychologist, really.
Yeah.
Because you're trying to navigate. Okay, if the guy's not playing well, all right, let's show him some positive clips today, right? And then teach after that. So there's every day you have to kind of have a plan with certain players and know how to navigate how they're feeling and their confidence, and make sure that you're able to teach but not lose the player at the same time, right? So it was we never got that when we were first getting in the league, right, Yorkie? Like being a young guy or coaches weren't sensitive to that then as they are now. So I had to learn that a little bit, and it taught me a lot. It taught me a lot of how to coach these young guys and learn how to navigate their emotions. So it was a big learning curve for me too.
Wally, when I first came in, and I think Nate, you started playing early 2000s, 2004 maybe, 2003. Like the rule of thumb was, if you were a young guy, you don't speak unless spoken to.
Mm-hmm.
It was don't speak unless you're spoken to, and the respect and the fear. Like you'd come to the rink nervous, like you would, and to nowadays, guys are cruising in, chest out. It's like if you're a high draft pick, you're getting like at least 6 mulligans before you're sent down.
Like it's
for sure. You're not getting sent down.
You're not because it's just. Yeah, I
riding on a first round pick.
I don't want to be that guy that says back and that this day was better, but I will say this: guys are a lot more mentally weak than they have been in the past, because there's just more entitlement now. There just is.
Yeah, it's just different now. Definitely.
Yeah, of course,
still good.
Nate's only 40, and you're slightly more than that right
now. A little bit. Come on now. Wally.
It's like a whole generation. Nate, you played a 9 team, so I'm curious. When you look back at it, is that a bonus to have to go and see all the different spots, or do you wish you could have stayed somewhere longer?
No, I look back at it now, and it was my journey. The player I was, the type of teammate I was. I mean, it was awesome. I look back at it now, and it served me well for a lot of different things, to be able to have to go to a new team and acclimate myself. And Yorkie, I don't know if you can relate to this, but whenever I would get traded and go to a new team, I almost got into a rhythm of knowing, going into a locker room and learning the dynamics, and I would kind of sit back and you'd watch and you'd see who's what and who's who, and you could kind of figure out the cadence of the room and figure out how to insert yourself. And I became good at that, almost, where I knew how to adapt to every team and still be myself, but know how to blend in with the leadership, because everyone has their leadership group and on every team, and you have to make sure that you're, you don't want to come in guns a-blazing and being like, I'm this big leader and hey, everyone listen to me. That it's just not how it works. But I learned a lot. I learned a lot from playing from different teams, and I got lucky too, man. Like I got to play with so many Hall of Famers and future Hall of Famers and learn from guys and see different things, and it helped evolve my game too. I got to learn from guys from like Marty St. Louis and Getzlaff and Perry and all these guys, and see them day in, day out and watch. And it made me a better player too.
It's pretty funny you say that. I just looked. How did you not play with Jaromir Jagr?
I
never
played with them. I played against them though.
Yeah. I'm like, how
played against
Jagr's played with everybody.
Yeah, I know. No kidding.
It's to Nate's point, because I got traded a few times too. Like, you got to have, it's like a really thick skin. You got to be so self-aware of yourself when you get traded to a new team, because as soon as you walk in that door, all kinds of judgments are going to be made on you, and they're going to try and figure you out right away. You're trying to figure out the room, who's the fine master, who's the guy that's running the card game, who's taking care of dinners, which guy's leading the stretch, and they're trying to figure all these things out. Like, because there's really usually a small group of guys that run the team. Those guys run the team. The other guys kind of fall in line, and there's like 3 or 4 guys that are always bitter because they don't get played and they hate the coach. So it's like you got to figure out all these things and then figure out where you and also too who you're going to hang around with, and it's an adjustment, man. And it can be stressful when you go into a new situation like that because first impressions are important. But hey, still fun.
No, and you said it, York. I think for me, whenever I would go to a new team, I almost felt like I had to, and it didn't matter how long I played or who I was or what I've done in the past. Like I always felt like I had to earn respect for my teammates and the coaches and make a good first impression on the ice first. Where I was like, okay, I gotta they traded for me. I gotta go do something for them now. The first game or second game, I got to impress them somehow and earn their respect. And that's why we talk about guys like Brad Marchand and all these guys that get traded at the deadline, and everyone's like, oh, they're not doing anything. They're not doing anything the first few weeks. And then you're like, well, it takes time. Like these guys have to get acclimated. It doesn't happen right away. And it's working out pretty well for Florida right now. So
yeah, like what's we got to talk some playoffs with you here. Well, we got you. What's your take on the Florida Panthers? Like, why is this team so much better than everybody else? It just seems like they're at a different level.
I think so. I believe, and every year we look at the playoffs and we look at every team that wins the cup. And every year that team that wins the cup that plays with some kind of snarl, some kind of mean way, right? Like hockey is meant to be played a certain way.
Yep.
Right. And everyone says, okay, skill and speed and all those things. Yeah, you got to have those things, but you have to play hockey with violence. Like that's what hockey is. And Florida does that in spades, but they do it in a way where they're structured and they play north-south hockey. Like it's not rocket science. Like they don't try to reinvent the game. It's the same way over and over and over and over again. And it wears teams down, and these teams can't handle it because they just wait for them to crack. They wait for them to crack. They wait for them to make a mistake, and they keep playing the same way. And I'll say that, like, even Sasha Barkov, right? Everyone's worried about, he's not scoring. But if you ISO cam him on every shift, he makes the right play every single time. He's playing 200-foot hockey. The assists he's getting, like the assist he had last game to Reinhart, was just a hard forecheck, him finishing his check, making the pass to Reinhart, and he scores. Like if that's my captain right now, I'm going, I'm loving this. Even if he's not scoring, he's doing all the right things. And I think that's what it is. I mean, you look at Florida and this team, and they do all the right things. They do all the little things. And I've heard interviews from guys. I've heard interviews from Reinhart, and that I think that's the difference too with this team. Like they don't care who comes out of the lineup and who comes in. They know whoever's coming into the lineup, they're good. Like I heard Reinhart talking about, he's like, yeah, when I was injured, Bothquist came in, and he had that one real nice goal against Carolina. And he's like, yeah, whenever a guy like that goes in, we're not worried. We're not worried about who comes in and comes out. It's just next man up, and they're going to do the job. And that's the Florida Panthers in a nutshell.
Yeah. They just, like, when you just take the word, the term team out of the dictionary. Yeah. It's the Florida Panthers, like, especially talking about wearing teams down. I look at these two teams. You and I were talking about this a little bit before off camera, before we got on. It's like Florida Panthers play that way, where you just never know who the guy is going to be. But you look at Edmonton, and it's like, if Connor and Leon aren't scoring, then it's like, seems like they're in trouble. Like they rely so heavily on those two guys. I'm amazed that they get this far every year because as you know, the playoffs are so grinding. They wear you down. Like, I don't know how these guys keep it up because they play so much for forwards. Can you imagine, Nate, a forward, and you're playing close to 30 minutes? Like,
no,
it's next to impossible, but they do it. But it's like Florida's just smiling. Sooner or later, we're going to wear you down. And then last game, they drag him into the ditch and they got them fighting. You could just see Florida smiling. Hey, we got these guys now. They're playing. They're pissed off. But
yeah, and they have this knack to, like, once they're up 3 or 4 more goals, they come on you harder. They'll finish their checks harder. They'll face wash you after a whistle and laugh in your face when they're up 5-1. They want to break you and your will. And, you're seeing that, and it's they're a hated team, but at the same time, it's like, you got to respect it because they know how to win. Paul Maurice has these guys firing on all cylinders, really, but you can tell he doesn't even really need to coach them. Like, they're a well-oiled machine. He just has to guide them through the playoffs because these guys know exactly how to play. They know what to do. They know what the game plan is, no matter what happens. If they lose, if they get scored on, it's just like right back to this robotic thing where every guy knows how they need to play. And to answer your question, Edmonton, it's a completely different team in that aspect, because you look at, they have a two-headed monster in Leon and Connor, and they rely on them so much. And we've talked about this before the show, is that how much there is a lot of pressure on those two guys, but I think there's more pressure on guys in their depth, right? Because it's tough. I mean, they're only getting a certain amount of minutes, right? Because of Connor and Leon, and as a depth guy, I think sometimes that can be tough, because when you're only getting these certain amount of minutes to play, and you're playing in between, sometimes you're not playing for maybe 7-8 minutes, and then you're expected to go out there and produce as a depth guy. It's tough when those guys are playing that much. And obviously last game was a one-off. I think Edmonton just played terrible, and the game got out of hand. But I think this series is long from over. I mean, I'm picking Edmonton to win tonight. I just think that.
Oh yeah,
I am. I'm just thinking that Edmonton is, the way they've played bounce back games, the way they've played throughout this playoffs, we've seen them play. Like, when they play a structured defensive game, they play fast. They move the puck out of the zone quickly, and they're able to spread the minutes out. When you see when Connor's playing 18, 19 minutes, or when he has played not an astronomical amount,
way better.
Their team is way better, way better. So I think Chris Knobloch, if he can get back to that tonight in Game 4 on the road, and I think the big thing for them is they need to get that first goal at home, on the road. I think that'll calm things down a little bit too for Edmonton.
So you brought up Paul Maurice, and you kind of said he didn't have to do much. I'm curious if he's not the best coach in the game right now, because he may not have to do, like, he just seems to be able to figure out how to make them tick.
Yeah, you know what? Paul Maurice is this. It's a tactician. He's a tactician, right? I feel like all the things he's doing right now, and people are getting annoyed of it, his press conferences and the things he's saying, his one-liners, what he did with Rod Brindamore and the handshake line. He's living rent-free in everyone's head right now. He really is. And I think part of it, in playing from Paul, I think he does this all for a reason. Like, he's doing this because it takes. I think he does it. It takes a lot of pressure and a lot of spotlight off his team. He puts it on him, whether it's the game or whatever happens, he's having fun with it. And Paul's a smart guy. I played for him in Winnipeg. Great man, cares about his team, his players a lot. And you see that. And I think Paul's a smart guy. And I think there's a reason why he says what he says in the media, in those press conferences.
Why? I don't know if you have any insight on this. Why did he leave Winnipeg? What was the story behind that?
I think, from what I've heard and the stuff he said, I think he knew his message ran out, and he knew that the players, he wasn't the guy anymore. And shows a lot about Paul that he removed himself from the situation and knew that it wasn't going to work anymore. And just knew he had to step down. I think that was it. I mean, and that happens. I mean, he was there forever. You sometimes that message, with guys, it can get bland, it can get, stale, and guys, it doesn't go in anymore, that message. So Paul's done a tremendous job, though, since he's been in Florida. That's for sure.
Crazy. I had him his first year ever coaching, Nate.
Oh, wow.
I had played against Mo the year before in junior. He was playing for Windsor. I was playing for Hamilton. We actually got in a fight. It was a pillow fight. Neither one of us were fighters, but I fought him for some reason. Next year, I get traded to Windsor. He retired because he had an eye injury.
Yeah.
And the Peter Kamanos, who ended up buying Carolina and brought the team there, just said to Paul, "I want you to coach. You'd be a great coach." And that's how he started coaching. It was junior, and he was like 21 years old, running the D. But he worked with me one-on-one that whole year. I had my best year ever. And I'm like, man, he was an amazing coach. back then when he hadn't even coached. And I knew you can just tell with guys they're gonna go on to do great things. But he was such a good guy back then. He was a throwback defenseman too. Little skill, but great talker and super. Obviously, you play them. Super good guy.
Oh yeah, he can talk. Yeah, one of the best motivators I've ever had as a coach.
Yeah,
hands down, absolutely. He can
really,
talk.
eh?
Oh yeah, he just tells stories and his motive. Yeah, he was very, very. I mean, just like you hear him in these these post game pressers, he's the same way in the room before. He can really talk to the guys.
I'm looking at
maybe you should have paid more attention because he was a pretty good coach.
I wanted to ask Nate, just as we're talking about the coach before you go on the next thing. I'm looking at all the teams you played for, Nate. You never played for Torts, eh?
I never did. No, that was one coach I kind of wish I did play for. Yeah.
Me too, because I heard his pregame speeches are legendary.
Yeah, I've heard the same.
Like guys that played for him would go through a wall for him because you just get you so fired up.
Yeah, when I played in Tampa, those guys like Marty and Vinny, they actually, Marty said it was his favorite coach. He was his favorite coach he ever played for. And so that was one coach I wish I would have got to play for sure.
Yeah. I think he gets a bad rap. Like everybody says, he's this and that, but he's just honest, right? Like he just tells the truth.
Yeah. I mean, he might be, like I said, we talk about the new era and everything's changing. And unfortunately that coach is starting to go away a little bit in our league, right?
Well, look at DeBoer. DeBoer comes out and criticizes the goalie, and he's fired.
I think there's more than just Pete DeBoer criticizing the goalie.
It's probably the number one reason.
It's
the number one. Okay, I don't know about you, Nate, but I think that's the number one reason why he was fired.
You think so?
I think that's the last straw.
I do think that they. Yeah, I don't know. That one's tough because I do think that put a nail in a coffin for him for sure. I think that absolutely. Once he said that didn't help. I think what happened is, from what I've heard, my point of view is that was said about Jake Ottinger. He's a popular guy. He's a franchise goalie, and I don't think the players were too excited about that either.
Yeah, right.
They were not happy with what he said, and it was pretty soon after too, pretty raw. So I think that didn't go over very well. Yeah, he could have waited maybe a few days. Yeah.
But you're so did he say it right after the game?
Right after. Yeah. It was right after.
Yeah. I played Pete was on that team I played on in Windsor. He was the captain. Pete was the captain and on that Windsor team, and Mo was the defense coach. So I was hoping those two were going to meet in the finals. That would have been good to see.
Sure. Okay. Just a couple quick questions. I want to get back to the outdoor game. Do tax rates matter? You played everywhere. You would understand them better than most. Are Canadian teams or California teams at a disadvantage compared to non-tax teams like Dallas, Vegas, or Florida? Like, would it make a difference for you if you were signing an $8 million contract somewhere around the NHL and you had a chance to go to a tax-free state?
Of course.
Yeah, I mean, you add a tax-free state and a team that's contending. I guarantee every guy in the league is going to pick that tax-free state, especially if both teams, like say, let's put a hypothetical. We say we have we'll say New York Rangers and the Florida Panthers, right? And you've got both teams contending, and you're a free agent, and they're offering you relatively the same. I mean, I think the answer to that one, right? I think it does make a difference. I mean, you saw Gary Bettman the other night on TNT talk about with Biz and how I understand what Gary's saying. He said Florida, those teams, no one was saying anything when they weren't winning, but when they are, it does make a difference. It really does, I think.
Yes. I'll put an asterisk in there. I think it depends how much pull the guy's wife has too. Like if he has a wife that's
every city though,
that really wants to be in LA or really has some couple of her friends, like depends how much pull she has. Like New York City, everybody used to want to sign in New York all the time until you get there and it's $20,000 a month to rent an apartment downtown.
It's for sure. I mean, you look at guys now, they're signing in Nashville and all these different places, right? That are Dallas, I mean, I think it definitely has a little bit of a factor.
I remember, Nate, when I got traded from Anaheim to Nashville and I looked at my first paycheck, I'm like, oh my God, like I just got a 20% raise. Like it's huge. Wally, it's huge. Like you can your career is just you never know what's going to end. Like I think if you're a superstar and you've made whatever hundreds of millions or whatever, let's call it
Brad Marchand, sure,
it's different.
Well, Marshy took a lot of team friendly deals for a long time.
No, but he's still okay. Like he's not worried about how he's going to retire. Is my point. He's done very well.
I think you're picking a team. But hey, the team he picked is Florida with no tax.
Well,
so,
well why not? Okay, let's move on. I just before you go, I want to ask you. Hey, scored one of Ottawa's goals in the outdoor game. You are from Alaska, so did you find the outdoor game cold? Because it was -20, I think, with the wind chill.
Yeah, it was definitely cold. I mean, I may be from Alaska, but people don't understand. Like Anchorage is warmer consistently than cities like Ottawa and Winnipeg. Like it's because we're surrounded by water, mountains, so it's a little more moderate. So like when people say, "Oh, you're from Alaska, you shouldn't be cold," I'm like, what are you talking about? This is cold. I don't care where you are. Cold is cold. That game was awesome. What an experience. And it was cold. I remember the wind was blowing too, right, Brent? Like that game, the wind was blowing one way.
Miserable.
I remember one direction. It was period. You're skating into the wind. So that was a cold
third
one.
period switch ends 10 minutes at the 10-minute mark.
I think we did, yeah. And I remember too, it was so cold. The ice was like, it was so hard that the puck bounced more because the ice was so hard, right? So it was an interesting outdoor game. But yeah, I ended up getting an empty net goal, so I'm not going to complain about that.
See, I wasn't going to mention it was an empty netter.
I'll mention it.
All right. So what's the experience like for that?
So that was my first ever and only outdoor game I played in. So for me, I was just kind of trying to take it in. I don't know if you remember, we had that family skate the day before at the Parliament up there. That was awesome in the Capitol. So it was just a cool experience overall, and getting to play in front of that many people. Wearing all the eye black and all that stuff, right? Getting to experience that. It was, and then playing against Montreal. Playing against the original 6 team like that, and I think Trudeau was there, and it was just overall a very, very cool experience.
Brian Adams performed.
I forgot about that. Yeah, that's right.
You're probably in the locker room, so trying to stay warm.
Brian Adams is still touring, guys. Think about that. This guy is just a machine.
So the Sens are celebrating their 30th anniversary of the Canadian Tire Center this year, and he opened the building in 1996. They're bringing it back this year for a special.
They're running it back
October to another 30th anniversary special. Anyway, I so totally sidetracked. Nate, when you look back at your career and over 800 games, what's your favorite part about it?
Oof. Yeah, that's hard. I mean, I don't know if there's one. It's like there's so many different moments that I had you can think of on the ice, but I think it's the York, you can relate to this. It's the guys that I met, the people, the relationships that I created over the years with teammates, and I think what hockey gives you, like there's so much more opportunity for your life from hockey and things that you get to experience from it. And yeah, I mean, there were so many moments, whether it was my first NHL goal, playoff moments, the playoff games I played in, those meaningful games. But I think, I look back on, and I played for 9 different teams, played a long time, but I got to, like I said, I got to learn and experience and like I said, create so many relationships on so many different teams, and, still keep in touch with a lot of these people on different teams. So I just look back and, to be able to play as long as I did, I'm grateful. It's hard to, that's a tough question, Brent. It's hard to narrow down one when it was so long, and I got to, experience so many great things.
I will say I'm disappointed because you came in and you weren't there obviously very long, and I wanted to. I remember sitting next to you in a locker stall. I think you were the third one down, if I'm not mistaken, right by the equipment room, and I was trying to set up a sit-down interview with you to discuss your story, and turn around and you were gone. And always disappointed I didn't get to know more.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, I
didn't know.
Hey, listen, everybody wanted out that year. I totally appreciate it. I forgot to ask you, Claude Giru. You played with him in Philadelphia. He is very well respected, obviously, across the league and here in Ottawa. People want him to come back. what do you know about Claude Giroux and his competitiveness?
I think that was it. That was the big thing, is I did not know how competitive he was until I played with him on his team, and saw the way he practiced. I don't know if people understand. Claude Giroux is a guy that really works on his craft. He's been around a long time. He always produces. I mean, in my eyes, I think that, he wins a cup or doesn't win a cup. I think he ends up getting the Hall of Fame eventually, just for just how much he's produced and consistently over the course of his career. But I think too, the thing I realized too about Claude is that I getting to play with G was his toughness. His physical and mental toughness, how he would be able to play through things, and his gamesmanship. I think that was another thing too. Is Claude always came up in big games, and it was just his gamesmanship, and he's done that over the whole course of his career. So he's another one of those guys that I felt grateful to play with, and I learned a lot from, and he was a great teammate. So if Ottawa gets him back, that's a huge positive for them.
You know what I find with him, Nate, and you played with him, so you know better than me. Like, he's not that big, he's not that fast, and you look at today's game, it's all about being either really fast or big. But here's Claude Giroux, late in his 30s, still playing, still put up 50 points, still leading the league in faceoffs. Now he's kind of added. Now he's like killing penalties for Ottawa. I don't know if there's a better guy in the league at, when you just know what to do before you get the puck, that hockey intuition. He's just so smart before he gets the puck and just distributing it. His hockey sense is off the charts.
Yeah, and I think you said it right there. You look at guys like Brad Marchand and now Corey Perry and what he's doing, and you add Claude Giroux to that mix, and those guys, they have Hall of Fame hockey IQ. They see things that other guys don't see. They see the game through a different lens. They're able to evolve their game and still be effective. Like, Claude Giroux, and another thing people realize is how strong G is. Like, he may not be a big guy, but like when it comes to like battles on his stick, and
heavy stick,
strong on his skates, like strong on the ice. So yeah, I mean, his ability to think the game and know where to be, because he's also, G is not the fastest guy either, right?
So here, 2 years ago in practice,
Pinto's not that fast.
He beat Shane Pinto.
I know he's not blazing either.
In a skate race, I guess.
And I love Pins. He knows he's not fast.
But Brent, would you, if you were gonna say about an attribute of Claude Giroux, you wouldn't say his speed?
No, but I think he's deceptively perhaps quicker. I know I'm arguing with two guys who played the game.
He knows how to change his speeds.
Yes,
really well. And that's the thing. You can see guys go 1,000,000 miles an hour, but you can angle them if they don't change their speeds. Claude knows how to get off the gas, put on the gas, slow it down. Like, sometimes he'll carry the puck up, but like at a snail's pace, make you come to him, then speed up. That's what Nate's talking about. It's just his mind to think to outthink the guy it's top 5 in the league.
Yeah, and I would compare him, different size, but like in fact of changing speeds and playing the game at his pace when they have the puck, compare him to like Ryan Getzlaf. Ryan Getzlaf was one of the best at that.
He was good, eh?
He was able to slow the game down when he had the puck. Guys had to, you have to change your speed because of him, or he could speed it up or bring it down. And those guys are one of one. Those guys that can do that are usually, superstars or Hall of Famers that can do that.
Favorite player you ever played with? I know I've asked you a million questions.
That's a good one.
Played with, like on a line?
Yeah. Well, whatever you want.
I'll say, I would say Ryan Getzlaf is up there. But playing with on a line, I got to play with Nick Suzuki his rookie year. And he was one of the funnest guys I played with, for sure.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
100%. I got to play with him, and it was funny. At the beginning of the year, I had a great start, got a bunch of points to start the season. Everyone's like, yo, Nate, 35 or however old I was, well, what'd you do this summer? What'd you do this summer to change everything? I'm like, see that kid right there? That's recent right there. That kid. So when he was a rookie, you could see it right away. He was a fun one to play with. So good.
Pretty talented.
He might be a dark horse for the Olympic team, eh?
I think that it's hard to say. Obviously, I think he should have made the Four Nations team. He didn't. They obviously worked out, but I think Nick Suzuki should be on that team for sure.
Yeah. No, you got it's like listen, it's a Senators podcast, but still, I'm a big fan of his too. Like
Yeah.
he's a friggin' gamer too. He's
Oh.
a gamer.
Oh, so good. So good.
Yorkie, it's not a Sens podcast. It's a chit chat. You just like to discuss anything and everything. Nate, I appreciate your time. Thank you for stopping by. It's good to see you again. And by the way, your podcast with Julie Pinks, the Energy Line's fantastic. It's
Thank
just,
you.
You know what? Everything's just easy for you. Hey, like a great hair.
I don't know.
Play in the NHL, your podcast world. Your
Oh yeah, it's so it's just
Like,
easy.
Jesus.
Lucky Wally, he just lucked into it. It's so easy.
Yeah, that's right. Everything's so easy.
It's hard work, Wally. It's hard work.
Just press the easy button. I wish it was like that.
Anyway,
Hey.
Thank you, Nate. Take care. We'll talk to you soon, my friend.
Nate,
Thanks for having me, guys. Yeah, good to see you both.
Great chatting with you, man. We really enjoyed that.
Thank you, Yorkie.
All right, Nate Thompson. Nice to see him again. We'll have to circle back with him. He's always got lots to say on the.
That's why Nate Thompson played over 800 games.
And you just butchered his name.
No, I didn't. How do I butcher it?
Okay. All right.
Anyways, he's in the good guy club, Wally. He's in the good guy club.
Oh, everybody's in the. Okay, here we go. Everybody's in the good guy club except me.
Well, I put an olive branch out after you detailed my. I don't want to be in the club anymore. You were you had a good run. Like things were going well. I don't know what it was. Maybe the good weather was here. Your mood was changing. You're doing nice things, and all of a sudden, I put an olive branch out, and I don't want to be in this club. It sucks. So like, all right.
Every time I would say once a week if I'm out, people will stop me to ask if I'm in the good guy club yet.
Well, you're not because you didn't want to be.
Oh, by the way, I was going to wait for Graham, so we'll do this more Monday about the Sens season ticket event they just had this past Tuesday. Dave Poulin said the team needs to play with more saltiness.
Is that what he said? He did, eh?
Music to my, and Graham is there. We both looked at each other and chuckled. And I was like, see, you're looking at the newest member of the Ottawa Senators forward group next year.
Is this going to be the new third jersey they come up with? A salt shaker with your head on it?
Did you see the new jersey?
Yeah, they're sweet. I like them. Yeah, they're good.
It's not bad. Yeah. Like if you see the video is pretty good. Yeah. Like
everybody
will complain. There's been some really big misses of late. I don't mind it.
I still think you could do something eventually with the original Sens thing with the Parliament on there. That one, the one I'm talking about. Like that one's pretty cool. Like I would try and do something like with that eventually too. Like I think there's some legs with that one.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Okay. I got to take care of some business, and then we're get on with the rest of the show and your chit chat. Oh, but we'll get to your. Never mind. Hang on. Coming out, brought to you by Club EG, because I could just keep talking, and then I would get in trouble. City Match Play Championship is going on right now. It's taking place in Ottawa for golfers of every skill level. There's a division for any skill, any age, and yes, males and females. There are some team divisions as well. You can enter any division that suits you and get matched up in a bracket style match play golf. Basically, it's open to every golfer. It doesn't matter your score. Check out citymatchplay.golf and get in on the game. Also, don't forget the Commissioner's Cup is coming up in July. That's the PGA Tours, PGA America's tour event. We'll discuss more of that later in the summer. And of course, by BEI. I'm not even letting Yorkie just talk today.
Let's keep going. Keep going. You're on a roll. You're doing great.
If you need landscape, stone, aggregate, whatever you need, maybe thinking of redoing the driveway. Well, give Bonisher Excavating a call. 613-432-1120. Go to bonisherexcavating.com. BEI, helping to shape the Ottawa Valley. And of course, by our show presenting sponsor, Bet365. Want to get on the action for the Stanley Cup playoffs? At Bet365, they got you. From game props to player props, totals in the money line. They can even bet on futures like series winners. I guess it would just be the Stanley Cup champions and more. Whatever your bet, it's never ordinary. At Bet365, download the app, get in on the game. An official partner of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Must be 19 or older. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, visit connectsontario.ca. Yorkie, I know we had to skip to the end of the show. Oh, first, the game is tonight. Nate picked Edmonton to win this game. I'm not with Nate on this.
Yeah, I think I picked Edmonton to win the series, but I want to redo on that after watching what Florida has been doing lately. The Bobrovsky he's just on a different level. Like, he just makes so many key saves. I'm liking Florida tonight. They're just such a deep team, Wally, and they just keep coming in waves. It'll be interesting because what happened after last game, and people say there's no momentum from game to game, but the way Florida got Edmonton to react with getting in the scrums, it's like they dragged them into a street fight, and you could see guys like Matthew Tkachuk kind of smile and say, "We've got to these guys; they're off their game." And yeah, I got a hard time seeing Florida not win this series from what I've seen so far. Like, especially if it continues to be a series where, Edmonton's power play was really going for a while, but if they kind of let the players play, if they let them play, which they normally do in the finals, it's going to be tough for Edmonton to win this series.
I concur with you. I like. Anyway, we'll see. Every game changes, right?
It does. It does. Like, they still like McDavid is still so good. Like, and Draisaitl, and their power play can if it gets hot again. But the discrepancy between the goaltending, it just seems like think about this. Like, they didn't go with Skinner early on in the playoffs because he wasn't just the way he was playing. Like, the inconsistencies there. I know he had that stretch where he played great, but it's just. There's never that seed of doubt in Florida about the goaltending position. There's always a seed of doubt that's kind of lingering in Edmonton.
But interesting, there was a few years ago, remember, like Alex Lyon started the playoffs.
Yeah. But after that, Bobrovsky
get out of the way.
Like, he was almost out of the game. Like, they had this monster contract. It's like they can't buy him out. We're stuck with him. He's terrible. And all of a sudden, it's just since then. I don't know what happened. He just went back to being that goalie he was in Columbus when he had all that potential and all that star power, and he just put it all together.
Yeah, I agree with you. And the other thing is, I think just Florida is just deeper. They just can keep coming at you.
They're deeper. Their D are meaner. They've got long D. It is amazing too. I find their D. There's a little bit of a lack of I'd say high-end skill, but you don't really need high-end skill in today's playoffs to win.
No, but it can be a difference maker. Like, Aaron Ekblad is becoming a difference maker to me.
I'm surprised actually of how much better his hands have gotten. Like, he must be working with some skills coaches and doing some extra work, because his hands weren't this good a couple years ago. Like, I'm watching him, like, it's cleaner handles. Like, a couple of years ago, I used to watch him on the power play. I'm like, this guy is not a first power play guy. Like, that's a mistake. Now I watch him like, man, he just looks smoother. Yep. He looks like a more skilled player. Yeah, he looks great.
All right, can we bring up the fact that who hung the pictures behind you? There's no chance it was you. Not a chance.
No chance. Laurel is an expert picture hanger. It's not me.
Is she tape measure leveler?
Everything. These are tough too, because the skates look good, by the way. It's like the colors. I actually got to turn a light on here. It's kind of dark. But no, I'm in charge of and I got a question for our people today, because right now I'm kind of in charge of outdoor maintenance. I've got some new sod that just went in today. I've got brand new sod. And I was talking to the landscapers that laid it down, and everyone's got different opinions. How much do you water brand new sod? Like, do you soak it? Because I've heard it's got to be soaked and moist all the time, or you don't want to drown it. Like, what's the protocol?
So, Yorkie, we had both of our homes were built in new developments. So, when I say both, I mean we lived in one and lived in it. We don't have two homes. They came with the water truck and soaked it. So. And I think they did that for like the first 5 days, maybe 4 days.
Really? Really?
Yeah. Like,
but I've heard you don't want to drown your sod though, because it still has to breathe a little bit. It still needs to breathe a bit.
Well, it's got to start searching for the water in the ground, so it does have to be, I guess, a little bit drier. But right away, you want that to be soaked. Is my understanding. Yeah. I am not a greenskeeper. I'm sure someone listening will have another opinion.
Yeah.
I have a bird feeder issue is what I have.
What's going on with the bird feeder? Is it popular? Are you getting a lot of birds stopping by, or is it
So
what time's social hour, happy hour back there? The birds, when
the
did they
problem
contribute?
is, Yorkie, the bird feeder came with like spikes to put on the side to keep squirrels and chipmunks away.
Yep. Now it's
I
harpooning
couldn't bring myself to put them on.
to keep the squirrels. Now
I
squirrels
just
are
felt
just
like
well, you can't. You're gonna be infested with squirrels in your
so
backyard.
it is now a chipmunk squirrel. So I
Yeah.
run out and chase off the 2 chipmunks,
Yeah.
a gray squirrel, and a black squirrel. Now it's like a family. It's just a gathering.
Yeah.
I'm spending
Yeah.
$25 a week in bird feed for squirrels.
What
So
purpose do squirrels have in the food chain of life? Because I find there's
don't know.
way too many, and all they do is pester and dig holes, and they run on your fence.
Yeah.
Like,
So
I don't know.
so I have like Gertie goes out and will sit on the deck and like she stares straight at the bird feeder. She won't chase the squirrels or she just lets them hang.
No, Gertie wants no part of the score. She's not catching them. It's a
So
losing battle. So Gertie's smart. Just save
I don't
energy.
I don't know where to go from here.
This is the strange thing. Do people know this about Gertie? That your dog, you have to have mats in your house for your dog to walk on because she won't walk on the hardwood floor. Is this? Have you discussed this on the show before?
I believe at one point, yes, because people could see the mats in the background.
This is crazy. I went over to
I-
Wally's house, and like you've got a golden retriever. They're a very
She's-
smart breed. They
She's
usually
not a
go all-
golden retriever. She's a
Is she?
lab shepherd mix.
Okay, well, close enough. Looks like
I know.
like
I'm
golden
just
retriever.
I'm just pointing because someone's
So,
gonna yell and say it's not.
So
true.
Wally's got mats put out for Gertie to navigate to her food dish and all around the house because you have hardwood on your main level, but your dog won't walk on the hardwood floor, so you have to put matting on your floor. It's crazy. Like it's
So she used to at her old house, she would walk everywhere. Although she
Well-
doesn't like I feel like she's very claustrophobic because she doesn't go into any room really. She won't go like we've put treats all over the house and left for the day. And there's a box of milk bones at the front door at her height, like they're on the floor. She won't touch them.
she won't leave the mats. She only stays on the. So basically, your house is like picture like hardwood everywhere, and there's like little streets of mats that take.
There's
you to
just
little
two.
areas.
I just have 2 sections. Let's settle
There's
down.
is there like an intersection where these mats meet, and Gertie's got to
No.
look both ways before she crosses?
No, but funny. So partially the reason we did this also, she had to have knee surgery on both her knees within like 4 months. And so we didn't want. They said if the surgery didn't take and she injured it, we'd have to put her down.
So you put the mats. You put the mats out for the bad knees.
Yes, but now the knee, like she won't walk anywhere without
Unless she's on the mats.
But every
What
once
about-
in a while, like if
what
we move
about-
the mats to clean the floor and she'll walk. Suddenly she like she'd never known they were there. I'm like,
So what do you do once you get outside? You have to like keep rolling the mat outside.
no, she's outside. She's a completely different dog. She's like a normal dog. Outside, no.
Yeah, so she doesn't need the mats for the cushioning for the bad knees. It's just become a mental thing inside the house.
she's never liked to walk on hardwood tile, anything that she can't like dig her nails into.
It's crazy. A dog, usually your breed of dog is very food motivated. And
Yeah.
you're telling me if you put a steak on the floor that's not close to the mat, she won't take that steak down.
So it's funny. I should videotape. She'll only go as far until her back feet aren't on she won't leave her back feet. So she'll stretch as far as she can, but she's on the mat without question. So she won't go around the kitchen. Like we've tried. We've brought dogs into the house that they run around and thought maybe she would chase them. She's like, have at her. I'm not going over there. Like
No, it's Gertie's.
it's fantastic.
Gertie's indoor world is only the mats. What about upstairs?
So
Does she go upstairs?
So at night we put a blanket down for her to go from across the hardwood up the stairs.
Your dog needs to go to a shrink. It's afraid of hardwood floors.
So she's very timid. Anyway, she hasn't come up late. I think her knees bothering her again, like arthritis maybe. But she'll come up if we bring treats, and then she'll take the treats and then go back downstairs.
Okay, you need to film
I've
Gertie on
tried.
these mats tonight, and people need a visual of what's going on in your house. It's the most bizarre thing I've ever seen. A dog that lives on a mat system. It doesn't leave the mats, even if there's like
she doesn't turn around on the mats. She backs up.
Because they're like, so she backs up, so she won't do a 3-point. Oh
no.
Oh, all right,
yeah. If the door's not open enough, like she won't move until the back patio door is open past the mats for her to go on. Yeah.
Hey, listen, I got one more thing on the grass. I got sidetracked there. I got to go over to Canadian Tire and get a sprinkler because I'm getting an irrigation system, but not till Sunday. So should I go with the back and forth or the one that goes
the oscillating sprinkler? For me, I would do what's it called? It sits on an angle. Like the one I have is a gardenia. You can set whatever angle you want it to be up into 360 degrees, right? And it'll cover your yard. It's fantastic.
Because I gotta get this sod nice and moist. It's my project. As soon as the show's done, I'm going to the Canadian Tire, the massive one on Caroline.
The world's biggest Canadian Tire.
Is it really?
Well, it's Canada's largest, and there's none outside of Canada, so it's the world's biggest Canadian Tire.
All right.
Okay, so can we can go now? Is that?
Oh, I didn't know about. I needed a little surprise. I need to know about the sprinklers. I haven't bought a sprinkler in a long time.
Fair enough. Because there's no live show today, we didn't do any more from Brent's basement giveaway. I will do that on Monday as we reconvene to discuss the things that were discussed at the Sens season ticket event, which was very well attended, and then we'll have more. The Cup Final, and maybe day 27 of the Cup Final.
Yeah, it might be.
Have a great weekend, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you soon.
Take care, everybody.